Chapter 72 Learning to Skate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The four of them quickly cleared the zombies, and Wang Mingyang also took this opportunity to refamiliarize himself with his close combat knife skills. His physical fitness is still far behind that before his rebirth, and his strength and speed are obviously inferior. He needs to adapt further to avoid misjudgment. He also taught Suyu, whose special ability has a good performance in close combat. The four of them continued to move forward, and nearly 100 zombies along the way were swept away by them. Wang Mingyang felt a little distressed, because most of these zombies were pierced through the head by Li Yuchan and Mu Ningxue, and they could no longer be cultivated. On the side of the teaching building of the School of Information are several teaching buildings of the School of Urban Construction. The actions of Wang Mingyang and the other four were seen by some survivors in the teaching building. Some of the more urgent ones could not help but pull the window and shout for help at them. What Wang Mingyang hates most is this kind of reckless guy. The zombies have been out for a few days, and they don't know if the sound will attract zombies. As expected, with the shouts of these people, the zombies around began to riot. Some zombies in the corridors and hallways followed the sound to find the classroom where the survivors were hiding and began to smash the door frantically. Wang Mingyang ignored the shouts of the survivors, glanced around, and saw a sign at the intersection. He immediately waved his hand and rushed towards the sign. Suyu and the other two followed closely behind, while rushing to clean up more and more zombies. There is a comprehensive building in the northeast, and there is a big supermarket on the right side of the comprehensive building. Let's go there first. Wang Mingyang quickly scanned the sign. His mental power increased repeatedly, making his memory much stronger. He memorized the image of the sign in an instant. The zombies around him gathered around, and Wang Mingyang didn't care about getting familiar with his melee ability. Dozens of flying swords flew out of his pocket and shot forward quickly. He took the lead in sprinting to the northeast, and zombies fell to the ground along the way. The long-range advantages of the three ADCs were brought to the extreme, and Suyu was the most idle one. Seeing that the four people ignored them, the survivors could not help but curse loudly, but such shouting would only make the zombies outside the door more crazy. After a while, in the teaching building of the Urban Construction College, along with the excited roars of many zombies, the desperate screams of the survivors came one after another, killing and walking. The four finally arrived at the comprehensive building after 10 minutes. The buildings and facilities of Yunnan University are not high. The highest is only about the 7th floor. However, this comprehensive building is built on the top of a small hill, and there is a large supermarket on the slope below. Look, that's the School of Life Sciences. Li Yuchan took the time to point to the north, about a kilometer away, and said, "Well, it's good to have a target. Let's go to the supermarket first." Wang Mingyang nodded. It's not far away and can go at any time, but it's almost 6 o'clock now, so it's not suitable to continue exploring. This comprehensive building is basically used by faculty and staff for office work, and there are few students on weekdays. It happened to be the weekend, and there were not many faculty and staff, but there were not many zombies. However, Wang Mingyang and his four companions attracted 200 or 300 zombies to follow them. Wang Mingyang commanded Mu Ningxue and Suyu to clean up the scattered zombies nearby. He activated his metal control ability to control several cars parked under the complex building, directly blocking the slope they climbed up. Li Yuchan followed suit and moved the cars together. Mu Ningxue, freeze the road and let these zombies roll down. Mu Ningxue, who had cleared the zombies on the first floor, heard this and jumped onto the stacked cars, using her ice ability to the fullest. A layer of frost quickly spread over the fairly wide road slope, and the road surface suddenly became slippery. The fast-running zombies stepped on the ice one after another, their feet kept slipping, and they all rolled down. In a large office upstairs in the complex building, several men and women who looked like teachers were lying by the window, whispering as they watched the situation below. Fuck. What is this? Is it a supernatural power? A young male teacher in casual clothes said in surprise. It seems so. The man waved his hand and my car actually flew up. A young female teacher who was 1.55 meters tall beside her covered her mouth and nodded. Damn, I just bought a new car. This bastard actually used my car as a cushion. The middle-aged male teacher wearing glasses growled. It's time now, why do you care about cars? It's just a broken Jetta. Another female teacher with a good figure said contemptuously. Fuck. The middle-aged male teacher choked. Director Hong, are these people our students? How can they be so powerful? The young male teacher turned his head and looked at the director of the academic affairs office, who was silent. Not sure, I have some impression of the boy with a ponytail, but the other three shouldn't be. Director Hong, who was about 50 years old and dressed in a black suit, touched his bald spot and shook his head. He vaguely remembered that there was a boy with a ponytail and cloth shoes, who seemed to be from the philosophy department. It is said that he is a disciple of some Taoist school, and was directly arranged by the dean to enter the school. As for the other one man and two women, he really doesn't know them. Such beautiful two girls are enough to be named school beauties. If they are from Yunnan University, he must know them. 1.55 meters tall, since he is a student of our school, he should come to save us. Middle-aged male teacher, yes, yes. In times of crisis, this boy actually has this ability, he should take greater responsibility. There are zombies outside. If we shout loudly, we will be eaten by the zombies outside before they come up. The young male teacher was rational and not in a hurry. Xiao Lu is right. Find a cup and throw it out to attract their attention first. Director Hong pondered for a moment and nodded. Director Hong, I remember you have a brush and ink. I'll get them and write a distress signal. Xiao Lu turned and walked towards the antique shelf behind the desk. Yes, in the drawer under the shelf. Teacher Jiang, go get a cup. Director Hong ordered. Okay. Middle-aged teacher Jiang on the side heard this and immediately ran to the coffee table in the middle of the office, grabbed a purple pottery teacup, and prepared to throw it out the window. Hey! That's my cup, take another cup. Director Hong took a look and immediately said distressed. Oh, okay. Teacher Jiang looked at the purple pottery teacup in his hand, put it down in a hurry, and grabbed the glass next to him. That's my justice cup. Isn't there a glass over there? Director Hong's eyes twitched, pointing at the water dispenser in the corner, and growled. The 1.55 meter tall and good figure next to him twitched slightly when he heard this. What the hell, it's already this time, and he's still thinking about drinking tea. Leave it for the little cup. Hurry up, they're leaving. Good figure saw the four people downstairs, who had arranged everything and were about to turn around and leave, and couldn't help but urge them. When teacher Jiang got the glass, he turned around and ran back to the window. Good figure grabbed the glass and threw it out of the window. Let's go, these obstacles should be able to block for a while. Downstairs in the comprehensive building, Wang Mingyang smiled and prepared to run to the other side of the slope with three people. A bunch of zombies behind him were howling and learning to skate non-stop. Chapter 73 Save the Hammer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bang! A glass cup smashed down the building, making a crisp sound. The zombies in the corridors and hallways of the building heard the sound and immediately screamed and kept rushing towards the sound. Just now, when Wang Mingyang and Li Yuchan were carrying and stacking cars, they tried their best to avoid making noises that would attract the zombies in the building. I didn't expect that this would happen before leaving. The four of them looked up speechlessly, and saw 5 excited faces. Behind 2 large glass windows on the 5th floor of the building, one of the young male teachers was still writing big black characters on the window with a brush. What the hell, is this sick? Even the good-tempered Li Yuchan couldn't help but curse. After half a day of fighting, his mental strength had been depleted by more than half. Now they have to face dozens of zombies again. Although Wang Mingyang is here, this number is nothing, but it still feels very disgusting. SOS. Suyu read along the handwriting. This is a call for help. Mu Ningxue frowned and looked at Wang Mingyang. Save a hammer, no time to pay attention to them, hurry up. Wang Mingyang's face sank, and he turned around and left. Li Yuchan shrugged. He had the experience of the teaching building of the urban construction college just now, and the dirty influence of the pair of plastic brothers. At this moment, he had no interest in rescuing survivors. Suyu and Mu Ningxue had experienced this situation several times, and followed Wang Mingyang without hesitation. seeing the four people leave without looking back, several teachers upstairs immediately cursed in a low voice. "Asshole, this kid doesn't want to get a diploma. How dare he not save us?" 1.55 meters tall cursed. "How can such an irresponsible person become a student of our Yunnan University? I must complain to the principal and expel him directly." Teacher Jiang jumped up and down in anger, pointing his fingers tremblingly out of the window. Such selfish people must be office animals. What future do they have? After the government rescues them, I will report them to the city. The girl with a good figure stomped her feet with her orchid fingers raised, her eyes full of contempt. "Shut up. Don't you think you can't die fast enough? You are attracting zombies." Xiao Lu shouted in a low voice, pointing his finger outside the door. There were still some zombies wandering in the corridor on the 5th floor, and low roars were faintly heard. "Forget it," the boy with a ponytail was directly admitted by the dean of the School of Philosophy. "There is no point in complaining." Director Hong had a gloomy face and shouted in a low voice, "The other three should not be students of our Yunnan University. Save some energy. There is no food anymore. If you have the energy to curse, you might as well go out and find something to eat." When they heard that they had to go out to find food, the 3 people who were cursing just now shut up immediately. In fact, 8 people survived before, but because they were so hungry, they had no choice but to take advantage of the zombies in the corridor to go out and find food. As a result, they were scared back by 2 zombies after searching only 2 or 3 houses, and 3 teachers died. The remaining 5 people survived until now thanks to Xiao Lu, who risked his life to return to his office and brought back half a box of instant noodles. If they were asked to go out again now, except for Xiao Lu, the others would not dare to go out even if they were beaten to death. Director Hong is right. At this time, I guess no one else can be relied on. We can only rely on ourselves. The glass just now gave me some inspiration. Maybe we can find some food safely." Xiao Lu nodded. "Tell me, Xiao Lu, what do you think?" Director Hong turned around and stopped looking out the window. "These zombies are very sensitive to sound. There aren't many people in the complex except for those who have something to do and come to work overtime on weekends. So there aren't many zombies. And some were attracted downstairs just now, and those 4 killed a lot of them. There won't be many zombies left in this complex. We just need to find more cups and make some noise to attract the zombies in the building. We can take this opportunity to search for supplies. Otherwise, I'm afraid we will starve to death before the government rescues us." Xiao Lu finished speaking slowly, licked his dry lips, and looked at the other 4 people with a serious face. "But we don't know where to get food." 1.55 muttered. "There's a big supermarket below the slope, but we can't get through." Good figure sighed, a little helpless. "Teacher Zhou Yan, you are right. With so many zombies and we don't have the ability of those people, we don't have to think about the supermarket." Director Hong shook his head. "This way is definitely not feasible. But I happen to know something about what Teacher Zhang Ting said." Xiao Lu suddenly smiled and said, "Next to our office, there are several teachers from the computer department. They often stay up late to write programs. There is a big cabinet in the office, which contains a lot of instant noodles and sausages they usually stockpile." "Oh. Why didn't you bring more back before?" Teacher Jiang heard this and couldn't help but feel annoyed. "If you hadn't attracted the zombies at that time, I was going to go to the next door to take a look. Besides, how much can I take by myself?" Xiao Lu rolled his eyes and looked at the middle-aged male teacher with contempt. Before, Teacher Jiang and 3 other male teachers went out to look for supplies together, it was this guy who encountered zombies and screamed in panic, which attracted other zombies. In the end, the other 3 male teachers had no choice but to change their jobs. They should still be patrolling the corridor now. "What should we do?" "Your office is on the 4th floor. Even if we get there, we can't open the door without a key." Zhou Yan, who has a good figure, twisted her body and asked. The teachers in the computer department put a key in my drawer. But how do we deal with the zombies in the corridors and hallways? Director Hong touched his Mediterranean Sea, a little worried. I guess we have to sacrifice your teacup, Director Hong. Xiao Lu's mouth twitched slightly, and his eyes drifted to the coffee table. There are many teacups and teapots on the coffee table, and they will definitely make a bang if they fall. Okay. Let's do it this way. Although Director Hong is usually very slick and likes to communicate with beautiful students the most, he still knows the general situation at this moment. In order to survive, he will not hesitate to contribute his own collection. While several people were discussing the action plan, Wang Mingyang and the other four had quickly run to the vicinity of the supermarket. This supermarket has 2 floors. At a glance, the door of the supermarket on the first floor was wide open, and there were many shadowy figures of zombies inside. There are still many zombies gathered outside, at least hundreds of them. This supermarket is doing good business, much bigger than yours, and there are so many zombies shopping here. Wang Mingyang smiled faintly and teased. How can this be compared? Don't you think about how many students there are in Yunnan University? So you seem to think of Aunt Lu, and his eyes dimmed. After cleaning up these zombies, let's go inside to find some food. Wang Mingyang noticed that something was wrong with Su Yu, cursed himself, and quickly changed the subject. Wang Mingyang waved his sword and rushed over. Mu Ningxue patted Su Yu, and a circle of ice and snow spread around him, and the group slowed down. Chapter 74, Temporary Residence in the Supermarket. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Yu took a deep breath, and dark flames wrapped around the horizontal knife. As if he wanted to vent his annoyance, Su Yu slashed directly at the group of corpses with his knife. The dark red sword flashed, and the rushing corpses were suddenly cut open, and dark red flames exploded among the corpses with a loud bang. With just one strike, Su Yu killed a dozen zombies. In the previous battle, Su Yu only wrapped the dark flame around his sword to increase its lethality. Li Yuchan was shocked. When he saw Su Yu's move for the first time, he secretly thought that the 2 girls brought by Wang Mingyang were so extraordinary. The standard of this small team is really high. The crowd of zombies surged, and all the zombies in the supermarket were attracted, screaming and rushing towards the 4 people. Wang Mingyang waved his hand and melted all the metal objects on the roadside and took them in. A fence more than 1 meter high quickly surrounded the 4 people. The zombies pulled at the fence, stretched out their hands and screamed at them, but for a while they were unable to pass the guardrail. Li Yuchan chuckled. Wang Mingyang's move was indeed miraculous. He could control the flying sword with all his strength without any scruples. Wang Mingyang led Su Yu forward and cut off countless arms with a horizontal knife, and chopped down zombies one after another with the sharp horizontal knife. With the protection of this iron fence, there is no need for so much output for the time being. Mu Ningxue concentrated on testing an ability she had imagined in her mind. Following the guidance of her mental power, a pure energy of ice and snow bloomed among the corpses 10 meters away. An ice flower bloomed quickly, freezing all the zombies 5 meters around. Upon seeing this, Li Yuchan whizzed past with several flying swords, killing all the frozen zombies. The blood in the zombie's body had solidified, and it did not contaminate the ground at all. As the ice flowers bloomed with this move, Mu Ningxue clearly felt that most of her mental power and energy were consumed. If it happens again, she will probably have to take a break. Several people cooperated with each other and quickly cleared away the zombies, leaving the supermarket completely silent. All the zombies inside were drawn out, saving them a lot of searching, stepping over the corpses. On the ground, the 4 of them walked straight to the supermarket. Little did they know that because of their killings, there was a huge uproar in the 2 dormitory buildings 200 meters away to the east. There are still many students surviving in these 2 dormitories, 1 dormitory building for boys and 1 dormitory building for girls. At this time, these survivors no longer took care to avoid carefully, and they all lay on the balcony and looked around. The screams kept ringing out, causing the zombies downstairs to raise their heads and roar frequently. There was a commotion throughout the dormitory building, and occasionally there were screams caused by zombies smashing in the door. Who are these people? Are they superpowers? Damn it, swordsmanship. That guy is such a dick. Female version of Yajigu? I seem to have seen the little yellow-haired crescent moon Sky Chong. That short-haired man is even more awesome. He created a protective barrier out of thin air so that the zombies can't even touch them. Are these people from our school? Those two girls are so pretty and sassy, I'm so envious. I've seen that boy with a ponytail. He seems to be, from the philosophy department. What the hell, why do I have no superpowers, but I still want to kill everyone? I have awakened my powers, but I can only shoot a few water arrows, and I can't kill the zombies at all. My little fireball is pretty good, but it can only fire 5 shots. It takes 3 to kill one. There are too many zombies. Among the survivors in the dormitory, there are also people with awakened powers. It's a pity that they are not powerful abilities, they are too weak in the early stage. These people are trapped in their own dormitories, and it is difficult to gather together. They have no fighting power against so many zombies. In the large supermarket, after Wang Mingyang and the others entered, they directly pulled down the rolling shutter door. There were still many corpses inside. Li Yuchan once again became a porter. Under the control of Tai's spiritual mind, the broken bodies were thrown outside the supermarket. As the rolling shutter door fell, the light inside suddenly became much darker. The first floor is for snacks and daily necessities. I remember there seems to be a leisure area on the second floor. Li Yuchan said, sweeping the tip of his nose and looking at the stairs. There were a lot of corpses that had started to smell, and the whole supermarket didn't smell very good. Wang Mingyang was already used to this smell and didn't think there was anything wrong. Su Yu and Mu Ningxue had a lot of experience cleaning up private houses before, so they were somewhat used to it. On the contrary, Li Yuchan couldn't bear it now. He had cleaned the 5th floor of the library where he was before, and it didn't have such a strong smell. Go up and have a look. Wang Mingyang picked up the knife and walked up the stairs. The view from the leisure area above would be better. Several people walked up to the 2nd floor, and there were 2 zombies stuck behind a bar, screaming at them. Li Yuchan flew his sword through his head, then used his mind power to control the 2 corpses, and threw them directly out of the window. Wang Mingyang glanced around and saw that the hall was spacious and there were many leisure tables and chairs placed by the windows. On the other side are several counters for making milk tea and snacks. The inside is messy and there are still a lot of blood stains. However, there are no zombies left. Except for the 2 stuck ones, the other zombies have been attracted away just now. After finding a seat with a good view and sitting down, Wang Mingyang turned his attention to the dormitory area. Brother Mingyang, let me get you some food. Su Yu stepped forward and said. Well, please, just get some instant noodles or something. Wang Mingyang smiled slightly and nodded to Su Yu. Okay. Su Yu smiled back, turned around and walked downstairs. Xiao Yuer, I'll go with you. Mu Ningxue ran up with a knife and held Su Yu's hand. Okay, Sister Xue, I'll see if there's a pot. I can use the dark flame to cook instant noodles. Su Yu held Mu Ningxue's arm and smiled. Then you need to add 2 eggs and a sausage. Mu Ningxue's mouth curled up. Perfect. The 2 girls went downstairs whispering, while Li Yuchan fanned her nose and sat next to Wang Mingyang. Wang Mingyang took out a box of cigarettes from his pocket, gave him one, and lit the lighter casually. Take one, and you will get used to the taste slowly. I don't smoke, but this smell is really a bit addictive. Li Yuchan frowned and took the cigarette, looking at it for a while. Simple, you will learn it once you learn it, and you won't learn it again. Wang Mingyang took a deep breath, slowly exhaled the smoke ring, and handed the lighter in his hand over. Cough, cough, cough. It's so choking. Li Yuchan imitated Wang Mingyang and took a deep breath, and was immediately choked and coughed repeatedly. Huh, you bastard, who told you to take a big breath when you first came? Take a small breath slowly, don't let it enter your lungs first, and get used to it first. Wang Mingyang laughed at this. Li Yuchan in his previous life also learned to smoke from him. When he smoked for the first time, he was also choked and coughed repeatedly like this. This familiar scene made him feel a lot of emotions in his heart. Li Yuchan seemed to want to use the smell of smoke to dispel the faint stench from the tip of his nose. After coughing, he tried again. I say, Wang Mingyang, what do you want to do in the School of Life Sciences? I don't know either, but I have a vague feeling that there is something there that can answer my doubts, and I need to verify it. Wang Mingyang's eyes were a little deep. Feeling. Just for this, you are ready to go to this campus full of zombies? Li Yuchan was obviously a little unconvinced. Indeed, we encountered some problems 2 days ago, and I have a feeling that this may be able to answer my doubts. Wang Mingyang nodded. What is it? I can't explain it clearly for a while, you will know when the time comes. TSK. Li Yuchan made an international gesture. Although he is a Taoist priest in preparation, he is still quite down to earth. Wang Mingyang smiled and gave a middle finger in return. Chapter 75. The clown is actually me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Which colleges are the students in the dormitory area over there? Wang Mingyang glanced at the dormitory area, a little confused. Those are from the College of Chemical Engineering, Economics, and Life Sciences. There are a total of 8 6-story dormitory buildings. Li Yuchan followed Wang Mingyang's line of sight and said after thinking for a while. Well, after dinner, let's go and ask a few students from the College of Life Sciences. There should be quite a few survivors. There must be quite a few zombies, but it doesn't matter, just clean them up. Wang Mingyang said that the group combat power of the 4 people would not be too threatening unless they encountered multiple second-level zombies. There should be awakened people among these people. There must be, but they should not be strong. Wang Mingyang pondered for a while, searching the memories in his mind. In the previous life, he was awakened 7 days after the end of the world, and he didn't know the specific situation of Yunnan University at all. After that, I didn't hear about any powerful people appearing here, except Li Yuchan. However, in the previous life, he met Li Yuchan a year after the end of the world. At that time, they didn't talk much about the past. Wang Mingyang only knew that Li Yuchan was born in Changchun Temple in Nanzhou City, so he didn't expect Li Yuchan to appear in Yunnan University. After Rebirth, they unexpectedly gathered together. What if you meet an awakener? Do you plan to recruit a few more brothers? Li Yuchan exhaled a puff of smoke and asked with his head tilted. It depends on the situation. I value quality over quantity. Wang Mingyang didn't refuse directly, but he really had no interest in those low-level awakened superpowers, although awakening low-level superpowers is not completely useless. But if you want to stand at the top, the energy and resources required are unimaginable. Look at the 3-star 5-waste self in the previous life. Even if you work hard, you will still stop at the 5th level without the blessing of great opportunities. After Rebirth, Wang Mingyang dare not trust others easily, so you wanted to take care of her because of Aunt Lu. In addition, she awakened an A-level dual attribute ability, which will be a powerful force in the future. Mu Ningxue awakened because of her S-level ice and snow ability, and she had no bad deeds in her previous life, but had a good reputation. These 2 women have unlimited potential in the future and can become his right-hand man, not to mention Li Yuchan, who was an absolute close friend in his previous life, saved his life many times, and was a trustworthy brother. A-level mental telekinesis has unlimited possibilities. After gathering these 3 people, the small team took shape. Wang Mingyang was also thinking about whether to bring a good awakener into the team if he met one. He did not forget that the enemies in his previous life were not small characters. The mastermind behind Li Yuchan's death must be not simple, otherwise it would be impossible to calculate a powerful 7th-level mental telekinesis. It's a pity that Han Taizhan and Han Jun, the 2 uncles and nephews, are currently in Sichuan province. Moreover, Han Taizhan was the underground king before the end of the world, with many subordinates and many hot weapons. After the end of the world, in Wang Mingyang's memory, Han Taizhan awakened his superpowers very early and led his gang members to search for a lot of heavy firepower. This is also the reason why Wang Mingyang chose basics of metallurgy to study after obtaining the Zhutian Reading System. In the early days of the end of the world, hot weapons are still a big killer. Quality over quantity. Are you sure you don't value color? Li Yuchan looked contemptuous. You have 2 stunning beauties by your side, and there is no man. Is this what you call quality over quantity? Which eye of yours saw that I value color? Wang Mingyang was angry and threw the cigarette but directly at Li Yuchan. An invisible force stopped the cigarette but in the air. Li Yuchan held his hands and laughed, his eyes mocking. Suyu awakened an A-level dual attribute superpower, and Mu Ningxue awakened an S-level ice and snow superpower. Do you think their strength is not as good as yours? Wang Mingyang looked contemptuous. You are just an A-level mental power, and you still have the nerve to talk about others. Wait, what are you talking about A-level and S-level? How are they determined? Who determines them? Li Yuchan was surprised when he heard this. Have you never read fantasy novels or urban supernatural novels? No. TSK. You idiot. Wang Mingyang raised his middle finger. Just read a few more novels, and you'll know how they are determined. What's my level then? Li Yuchan asked with a guilty look on his face. Your mental power should be A-level based on its strength. Only A-level? I think I'm pretty strong. Come on, A-level is already very high. Wang Mingyang was speechless and had to give him some knowledge about supernatural levels. Then, Boss Wang, what level are you? Li Yuchan asked with a wry smile, moving closer. Oh, now you know to call me boss. As for me, what kind of supernatural power are you talking about? Wang Mingyang glanced at him and asked in a flat tone. Which kind? Damn, don't tell me you have more than one. Li Yuchan was shocked. Wang Mingyang laughed and gently drew a line in front of him from top to bottom. A black line suddenly appeared from his fingertips. With a thought, the black line instantly cut through the space and passed directly through the middle of a table a few meters away. The iron table slowly cracked and fell to both sides. The gap in the middle was as smooth as a mirror. This. Li Yuchan opened his mouth wide, somewhat unbelievable. The speed and power of this black line were beyond his imagination. S-level space cutting, another ability of mine. Wang Mingyang's tone was flat, as if he was describing an extremely ordinary little thing, but the slightly raised corners of his mouth revealed his inner pride. In his previous life, Wang Mingyang had many abilities, but the power was really unbearable. For this reason, Li Yuchan often treated him with contempt, although he knew very well that Li Yuchan did not look down on him at all. However, being teased by a brother is always a bit embarrassing, isn't it? In this life, he was the one to be contemptuous, and this feeling was really very cool. Fuck. What about your ability to control metal like kneading mud? What level is it? Li Yuchan gurgled in his throat and asked cautiously. Oh, you mean that, the A-level metal control ability. Wang Mingyang looked calm, as if it was nothing. A-level metal control, S-level space cutting. Li Yuchan muttered to himself, with a look of grief and indignation. In the short battle, Li Yuchan also found that among the three people, Wang Mingyang was the strongest, followed by Mu Ningxue. Suyu was mostly just a dark flame-wrapped knife, close combat, and had the worst combat performance, but Suyu's knife at the supermarket entrance surprised him. Mu Ningxue's blooming ice flower also made him feel powerful, but even so, Li Yuchan always thought that his strength should be above the two women. Of course, he was definitely worse than Wang Mingyang. After all, he had fought against him and he was only one step behind. But after Wang Mingyang's explanation, Li Yuchan thought about it carefully. The clown turned out to be me. Epsilon 3. Chapter 76 Humanoid Torch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Suyu found a pot from nowhere and cooked a big pot of food. The A-level dark flame ability really helped a lot. After a while, Li Yuchan raised his head and drank the coke in his hand, then collapsed on the chair, rubbing his round belly with his right hand, looking satisfied. Although he found some food and drinks in the library alone, but how can that compare to hot meals? Take a short break, let's go to the dormitory area, maybe we will stay there tonight. Wang Mingyang wiped his mouth with a tissue and turned his head to look at the dormitory building in the distance. Brother Mingyang, should we bring some food? Suyu had already put down his bowl and chopsticks and drank a cup of instant coffee. Just bring a little, don't take too much. It will affect the action. Wang Mingyang nodded, but he was thinking about how to find a reason to move the supermarket alone. The mustard space is large enough, and there are only some clothes and a large piece of metal in it now. It was a bit of a waste to leave it empty all the time. After discussing the next goal, the four of them found a few backpacks and went their separate ways. After sorting everything out, the four of them gathered at the door and walked out of the gate together. Wang Mingyang also pulled down the supermarket shutter door. The sky outside had already darkened, and Wang Mingyang slowed down. When the three of them walked a few meters, Wang Mingyang suddenly cried out. "What's wrong?" Li Yuchan turned around and looked around in confusion. "I forgot to take a few cigarettes." "Wait for me." Wang Mingyang smiled and turned to walk towards the supermarket. "Oh, you are really, a smoker can still forget cigarettes." Li Yuchan was speechless for a while. Suyu and Mu Ningxue looked at each other with a smile in the corners of their eyes. The three of them didn't think much, and just stood at the intersection waiting. Wang Mingyang quickly returned to the supermarket door, opened the shutter door halfway, and rushed in. Facing the dazzling supermarket, Wang Mingyang smiled slightly, and the shelves disappeared one by one when he waved his hand. "Everything that can be eaten and drunk is packed. If you think you can use it in the future, take it away, soon." The supermarket of 200 square meters was like moving, and it was brand new. Wang Mingyang held a cigar in his hand and crouched down to get through the shutter door. Pulling the shutter door down casually, Wang Mingyang patted the dust on his hands as if nothing had happened. "Let's go, I got a cigar, but I didn't have the chance to smoke it before." Waving the cigar in his hand, Wang Mingyang returned to the three people and stuffed the cigar into his backpack. "Now it's free purchase, you can smoke a cigar that costs hundreds or thousands of dollars." Mu Ningxue said calmly. The experience of the past few days finally made her understand why Wang Mingyang said before that money was worthless. "Well, you can try it if you have a chance." Wang Mingyang smiled faintly and took the lead to the dormitory area. The supermarket is about 200 or 300 meters away from the dormitory area, and there are many zombies along the way. The sky was dark and everyone's vision was not very good, so Wang Mingyang decided to fight quickly. Dozens of flying swords cleared the way. Wang Mingyang asked Li Yuchan to focus on the surroundings. His Tai divine mind was also very good for protection. Mu Ningxue's deceleration field was also deployed at any time to ensure that the zombies would be slowed down even if they were close. Suyu was completely a bystander, holding a knife and strolling beside Mu Ningxue. Wang Mingyang cleared the way with all his strength, and his space-cutting ability was also used. As long as the zombies in front of him gathered, a black line would cut through, and heads would roll to the ground. The roar of the zombies attracted the survivors in several dormitory buildings to look out. Everyone shouted again, but with the experience of the day, the remaining survivors did not dare to shout loudly. All of them looked at the four people in the distance with shining eyes and some excitement. Because they vaguely discovered that the target of the four people seemed to be this dormitory area. This situation made many people think that Wang Mingyang and his four people came to rescue them. Finally, "We are almost rescued." The four of them quickly rushed to a dormitory building. Wang Mingyang looked around and didn't know which building had students from the School of Life Sciences. "Never mind, let's go to the one on the left first." Li Yuchan looked around and pointed to the dormitory on the left and shouted. Everyone heard it and didn't bother to look closely. Wang Mingyang turned his flying sword and rushed to the left with a few people, leaving behind a pile of broken bodies and heads. The four of them quickly rushed into the dormitory building. Wang Mingyang closed the door of the dormitory building and controlled the surrounding metal to gather and block the door tightly. The zombies kept scratching and roaring outside, making a creaking and harsh friction sound. Everyone took a breath, and Suyu swung his knife to chop down several zombies that rushed over from the first floor. The movement here attracted the zombies in the entire dormitory building to rush down one after another. "Since we're here, let's clean up this building." Seeing this, Wang Mingyang simply started working, just like training. As they rushed forward, the other three didn't put much effort, and it was all Wang Mingyang who led the charge. This dormitory building has 6 floors, with about 30 dormitories on each floor, and about 700 to 800 people in the whole dormitory building. The zombie outbreak happened at noon on the weekend, and many students had already gone out at this time. At this time, at least nearly 200 zombies rushed in from all floors. Killing like this is not a solution. The corpses will block the stairs in a while. Mu Ningxue frowned as she looked at the pile of corpses at the stairs. The dormitory building was narrow, and many zombies even fell directly from the upper stairs. Wang Mingyang waved Mo-ing while controlling the flying sword to quickly kill the zombies. He also thought of Mu Ningxue's worries. After thinking for a while, he quickly shouted to Su Yu. Su Yu, use your dark flame to burn all these zombies directly. Su Yu, who was waving the horizontal sword, couldn't help but exclaimed when she heard it. She could already control the temperature release of the dark flame, but to burn all these zombies, she probably had to adjust it to the maximum temperature. In this way, it is estimated that the floor can't withstand such high temperatures. Don't worry, I'm here, just go ahead. Seeing that Su Yu didn't move, Wang Mingyang spoke again. Su Yu no longer hesitated after hearing this, holding the horizontal sword upside down, and pointing his palm forward at the crazy crowded zombies in the stairs. The next second, a burst of hot dark red flames illuminated the dim dormitory building. Wang Mingyang controlled the nearby metal to form a wall blocking the entrance of the stairs, leaving only the hole for Su Yu's dark flame to enter. The roar of the zombies mixed with the crackling sound of grease exploding resounded throughout the corridor, and the dark flame spread rapidly like a maggot on the tarsal bone. From the outside, it can be seen directly that countless zombies gathered on the staircase corridor in the center of the entire dormitory building from the first to the fourth floor. At this moment, they all became torches, emitting dark red flames with a strange light, illuminating the increasingly dark sky. The surrounding zombies were attracted by the sudden light here, and they all roared and moved their feet to gather. Okay, Su Yu, stop it. After a while, Wang Mingyang gently patted Su Yu's shoulder and asked her to stop. Su Yu's flame can continue to burn for a while as long as it is touched. Now the zombies in the entire corridor are ignited, and she doesn't need to output energy at all. Su Yu let out a long sigh and slowly put down her palm. This time, she used all her strength, and her mental power and energy were mostly consumed. She was indeed a little tired. In a place that no one could see, the walls of the entire corridor were burned red. The metal guardrail had already softened and melted, turning into drops of molten iron. The zombies gathered in the corridor fell down one after another. The extremely high temperature burned the flesh and blood of the zombies into charcoal, leaving only a skeleton that continued to burn. It looked like it would turn into a pile of ashes in a while. Chapter 77, Living but Dead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone waited for half an hour before Wang Mingyang slowly removed the iron plate blocking the staircase. This iron plate, which was formed by the fusion of the anti-theft door, stair railing, and window railing, had already turned red under the scorching temperature of Su Yu's dark flame. If Wang Mingyang hadn't been controlling it with his supernatural power, it would have turned into a pool of molten iron. When the iron plate was removed, an indescribable disgusting smell came to the face. The four of them covered their mouths and noses and kept fanning. I say, this corridor can't be walked now, the temperature is so high, it's scalding. Li Yuchan poked his head and glanced upstairs, speechless. All the zombies are dead. Are you still afraid that you can't go upstairs? Let's see if there is anyone on the first floor first. Wang Mingyang rolled his eyes, too lazy to pay attention to this guy, and walked straight to the side of the dormitory. Su Yu, go to the other side with Mu Ningxue, be careful. Okay. Su Yu pulled Mu Ningxue to the other side after hearing this. Mu Ningxue's mind moved, and an ice shield quickly appeared beside Su Yu. Hey, where should I go? Li Yuchan saw that no one was paying attention to him, so he had to turn around and follow Wang Mingyang. You go left and I go right, hurry up and look for anyone. Wang Mingyang glanced at him, activated his metal ability, and directly pushed open the dormitory door. Okay, you decide. Li Yuchan shrugged, activated his telekinesis to unlock the door, and kicked it. The dormitory door opened wide, and a black shadow rushed in from inside. Li Yuchan said fuck, and the Tai Divine Mind was activated instantly, and the female zombie wearing only underwear was immediately ejected. The next moment, a flying sword pierced the female zombie's head like lightning, and her struggling hands and feet suddenly collapsed on the ground. In the dormitory opposite, Wang Mingyang saw the situation inside the dormitory clearly, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Lao Gabao, you are so stupid. This is a girls' dormitory. Damn, what's wrong with a girls' dormitory? Can't girls be from the School of Life Sciences? Li Yuchan also noticed this situation and turned his head to refute. Wang Mingyang was stunned by the retort, although he felt something was wrong, but it seemed to make some sense. Hurry up and find someone. Ask which building has students from the School of Life Sciences. Waving his hands helplessly, Wang Mingyang left the dormitory. There was no one inside, no corpse. The two quickly checked the dozen dormitories on this side. Except for finding some zombies and cleaning them up, there was nothing else to gain. Returning to the stairs, Suyu and Mu Ningxue also walked back. The two girls shook their heads and also found nothing. It seems that we can only go upstairs. Wang Mingyang sighed, his eyes drifting upstairs. But the stairs are a bit unsafe. Suyu said with some annoyance. The fire was very effective, and the zombies were all burned to death, but the stairs were also burned red. They hadn't cooled down yet, and if you walked on them, they would collapse. Mu Ningxue could cool the stairs quickly, however, due to thermal expansion and contraction, the stairs collapsed without even stepping on them. It's okay, I have a way. Wang Mingyang smiled slightly and rubbed Suyu's head. Looking at the iron plate discarded aside, Wang Mingyang's mind moved. The iron plate quickly melted and deformed, and under his control, it quickly narrowed and stretched to form an iron staircase. Controlling this iron staircase to slowly cover the stairs and quickly solidify, Wang Mingyang stepped on the steps and stomped his feet, nodding with satisfaction. Brother Mingyang, your ability is so practical. Suyu happily gave a thumbs up. The metal control ability is indeed more comprehensive than her dark flame ability. There are many tricks. Okay, let's go upstairs to look for people. It's getting dark. Be careful. Wang Mingyang smiled calmly and took the lead to go upstairs. Everyone stepped on the metal steps to the second floor. The corridor was charred black. There were many stinking limbs and arms in the distance, and blood was splattered everywhere. The four people acted separately and quickly checked the 30 or so dormitories on this floor. Still nothing was found. There were even 4 zombies locked in 2 dormitories. Good classmates, good girlfriends, you must be neat and tidy in this life. Most of the dormitories had their doors wide open, and many incomplete corpses were crowded at the door and in the corridor. It is obvious that when the zombies broke out, they were crowded together, which eventually hurt others and themselves. When the zombies broke out, the lower the floor, the easier it is to be wiped out. Everyone had to do the same and continue to search upstairs. The 4 people acted separately, and Wang Mingyang checked all the way, but found nothing. Push open the only remaining dormitory at the edge and walk in. There are no zombies inside. It was already dark, but Wang Mingyang's vision had improved a lot after several enhancements. He could still see the situation in the dormitory clearly at this moment. The 4 beds were hung with pink and white gauze curtains, and all kinds of girls' toys were hung on the bedside. If it were normal, this would definitely be a garden that many boys yearned for, but now, Wang Mingyang's sight was focused on the lower desk. A girl with disheveled hair and wearing a nightgown was huddled there and shivering, and seemed to be mumbling something in her mouth. What's your name? Come out. Wang Mingyang said lightly, but the girl under the desk did not respond at all, still buried her head and muttered in a low voice. I said, come out. Wang Mingyang was a little impatient, and his voice suddenly rose. Ah! Don't come over. Don't eat me. That the girl seemed startled by Wang Mingyang's voice, waving her arms in the air and rubbing the floor with her feet. I'm not a zombie, I'm a living person. I just have something to ask you. Wang Mingyang stepped forward and pulled the girl up, holding her shoulders with both hands and shaking her heart a few times. The girl's true face was revealed as she leaned forward and backward, with a lot of dust on her pretty face, but her eyes looked very dull. The cute dress seemed to have been rolling on the ground for a long time, wrinkled and covered with dust and vomit. Seeing the girl's expression clearly, Wang Mingyang was stunned and silently let go of the girl's shoulders. There are monsters, eating people. Ran is scared. Ran wants to find her mother. Blood everywhere. When Jing is still downstairs, she is still waving at me. But when Jing was eaten. So many monsters ate when Jing chewed her bones, crunchy. Ran is so hungry, hee hee. The girl's eyes were empty, her head tilted, drooling. and she had a silly smile on her face. She uttered unclear words intermittently. Suyu and the others heard the noise and quickly ran over from other dormitories. At a glance, they saw Wang Mingyang standing in the dormitory, with a disheveled girl in front of him. "Brother Mingyang, she..." Before Suyu finished speaking, the girl suddenly turned around and looked at her, then he raised his index finger and put it to his lips. "Shoo! Don't make any noise, the monsters will hear it." The dormitory opposite. "Lon Lon, Xiaolin. It's just that the noise is too loud." They were dragged away and eaten by monsters. The girl tilted her head, turned slowly, and continued to stagger towards the balcony, still muttering. Suyu and the other two looked at the girl silently, as if they understood something, with a trace of sympathy and a hint of sadness in their eyes. "Boss Wang, what should we do?" Li Yuchan asked in a low voice with his Adam's apple moving. Wang Mingyang sighed lightly and turned to walk out the door. "Let's go, she's gone crazy, maybe, it's better for her to stay here." Li Yuchan and the other two trembled slightly when they heard this. This result was within their expectations, but they were so helpless. In fact, they knew very well that even if the girl was still normal, Wang Mingyang would definitely not make any other choices. In the end of the world, if you want to survive, you can only rely on yourself. This is a point that Wang Mingyang reminds others and them again and again, and a girl whose spirit has collapsed, although alive, she is still dead. P.S. I wrote the draft the night before, and saw the Douyin video yesterday at noon. The well-known online historical novelist July New Fan, real name, Li Yun Fan, died of lung cancer at home in Kunming on September 27, 2023. Previously, July New Fan said that he hoped his writing would last longer than his life. Recalling the content of this chapter, it just ended with 4 words. Although alive, she is still dead. There is an inexplicable feeling that this post-90s writer has created many words that readers enjoy talking about. I believe that his words will definitely be circulated for a longer time. July New Fan, although dead, she is still alive. I prefer to believe that, July's new series, has traveled back to ancient times, and at this moment, a young man named Li Yun Fan, is racking his brains to figure out how to support the Han Dynasty. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to let us know, and we will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding. Chapter 78. You won't mind having more girlfriends, right? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wang Mingyang walked out of the house and stood in the corridor to open a pack of huazi. Li Yuchan and the other two came out one after another. Li Yuchan walked in the end and wanted to close the door, but before the door was closed, a muffled sound suddenly came from the balcony, as if something heavy had fallen. Suyu and Mu Ningxue turned around and looked, their pupils shrank slightly. There was no one in the dormitory and the balcony. The girl named Ran Ran had obviously fallen off the balcony. Waves of excited roars of zombies came, mixed with Ran Ran's painful screams. Gradually, there was no life. "Let's go to the 4th floor and see, there should be many survivors." Wang Mingyang threw the huazi that he had only taken a few puffs of to the ground and rubbed it hard with his feet. "This damn end of the world." Li Yuchan cursed in a low voice, then sighed softly, his expression solemn, his eyes slightly closed, his hands pinched the magic formula, and he muttered something in his mouth. Supreme Tai, savior of suffering heaven. Wang Mingyang knew that he was saving Ran Ran's soul. "Okay, Li Gabao, so many people died, can you save them all?" When Li Yuchan dispersed the spell and opened his eyes, Wang Mingyang walked out, teasing slightly. "Just doing my duty, seeking peace of mind." Li Yuchan rolled his eyes, too lazy to argue with this guy, closed the door, and followed him to the stairs. Everyone climbed to the 4th floor, and before they could open the door, they saw a door quietly opened a crack, slightly revealing a pair of eyes with a hint of hope and fear. The corridor was completely dark, and everyone took out the flashlights they had prepared in advance, and several beams of light immediately illuminated the entire corridor on the 4th floor. The eyes shrank back like a frightened little rabbit. The door made a muffled sound because it was closed too quickly and too hard. The girls inside were even more frightened and cried out in low voices. The 4 of them were speechless, and then they separated and knocked on the doors of the rooms where there were still survivors. Wang Mingyang walked straight to the dormitory that had just opened the door. The metal door lock opened automatically, and some heavy objects were piled crookedly at the door. The two girls looked at him with fear. After a while, Li Yuchan and the other two returned to Wang Mingyang with a dozen haggard and trembling girls. Wang Mingyang glanced at the corridor full of blood and broken limbs, and a foul smell filled his nose, making these girls both scared and disgusted. "Let's go, all stay in this dormitory, I have some questions to ask you." Wang Mingyang pointed to the dormitory where the two girls were. The two girls immediately retreated and hurriedly covered their personal clothes on the bed with quilts. Seeing that all the girls had entered the room, Wang Mingyang walked in with the three of them. A dozen girls filled the room, and the small dormitory seemed very crowded. "Don't be nervous, we don't mean any harm, just sit on the bed." Wang Mingyang pointed to the upper bunk and then to a few girls. After a little hesitation, the girls climbed up as they were told, and the room suddenly became much more spacious. Wang Mingyang found a stool to sit down, leaning on his knees and looking around. "Which college are you from?" The girls looked at each other, and finally the short-haired girl with glasses in this dormitory spoke up. "We are all from the School of Economics, but our majors are different." "Oh, it doesn't matter. Do you know where the students from the School of Life Sciences live?" Although a little disappointed, it was also expected. Wang Mingyang asked calmly. "School of Life Sciences." The girls looked puzzled, but one of them, a round-faced girl with twin ponytails, suddenly raised her hand. "You know." Wang Mingyang looked over and was a little happy. My friend is from the School of Life Sciences, and he lives in Building 8 of the boys' dormitory." The round-faced girl whispered. "Where is building number 8? Wang Mingyang was puzzled, thinking back to the sign, which didn't indicate the building number. The round-faced girl continued, "We are building number 1 here, odd numbers are girls' dormitories, and even numbers are boys' dormitories. So, building number 8 is the 4th dormitory building on the back." Yes. "Do you know which floor it is?" I'm not sure about that." Wang Mingyang rubbed his chin. Although there was no specific location, he was a little happy in his heart. He finally found the target. Are you here to save us?" The short-haired girl bit her lip and asked with a hint of hope. "Save you?" Wang Mingyang was stunned and took his thoughts back from the boys' dormitory. Yes, you should be from Yunnan University. We are all classmates. In this time of crisis, can you lend a hand to save us? As long as you are willing to save me, I can be your girlfriend. I am willing to do the same. I think you won't mind having more girlfriends. Me too, in fact, I can change my boyfriend. The dozen girls in front of them all looked at each other with hope and surprise. The shock and torture in the past 5 days have made these girls a little crazy. Seeing Wang Mingyang and the others at this moment, they were like grabbing a life-saving straw, desperately betting everything they have. Only the short-haired girl looked at Wang Mingyang silently, her eyes scanning the few people obscurely. Hee. Wang Mingyang chuckled silently. It had only been 5 days, but these girls could already achieve this level. If they knew that such days would never end, how desperate they would be. It will probably be even more bottomless. I'm not here to save you. Wang Mingyang waved his hand, interrupting the chattering of these girls, and said in a cold tone. The reason why I came here is just because a certain leprous chose your building. As you can see, I just want to ask something, and then we will leave. Wang Mingyang stood up, exuding a faint evil aura, causing those girls who wanted to continue to pester to shut their mouths instantly. However, you are lucky. At least there are no zombies upstairs in this dormitory because of our arrival, except for the dormitory with the door closed. If you want to survive, just go out and fight the zombies yourself. They too are much prettier than you. Why don't you just pick up a knife and kill zombies by yourself? Just save your beauty. Wang Mingyang pointed at Su Yu and Mu Ningxue behind him. Under the flashlight light, the beautiful faces of the two women and the blood stained on their bodies made these girls know that the two beauties holding horizontal knives in front of them were indeed not flower vases. This intuitive comparison immediately made these girls look ashamed. But you have powers, but we don't. The short-haired girl suddenly questioned. Where do you think my powers come from? Mu Ningxue raised her eyes when she heard this, and said in a mocking tone, that's because I dared to take the initiative to fight zombies, and I only awakened my superpower at the critical moment of life and death. Staying in the dormitory like this, you will never dream of awakening your powers for the rest of your life, just wait to starve to death. Yes, we can, why can't you? Suyu nodded and said, this was not the first time she had seen such a scene, but as students, so many girls were so unbearable. At this moment, she was a little angry. Before, when Wang Mingyang was talking, the two women would not interrupt at all. However, Suyu and Mu Ningxue seemed to be in a bad mood due to the influence of the crazy girl downstairs. These girls are actually selling meat in front of them. The two girls were instantly attracted to each other. Chapter 79 Choose a Way to Die. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The girls blushed after what Suyu and Mu Ningxue said, and the girl with short hair was even more ashamed. Although she didn't try to promote herself like the other girls, she still said that sour remark. Wang Mingyang patted his buttocks, stood up, and walked out. Let's go. Whether you can survive depends on you. Don't count on others. Li Yuchan turned around and followed him out without saying a word. Suyu and Mu Ningxue glanced at the girls, sighed softly, and turned to leave. Suyu, leave the food in your backpack, as a thank you to the girl with twin ponytails. Wang Mingyang's voice came from outside the door, his tone indifferent. Hearing this, Suyu handed the backpack behind him to the girl with twin ponytails. There are some food and water in it, use them sparingly. The girl's eyes lit up, and the girl with twin ponytails hugged the backpack in her arms. He quickly unzipped the bag, took out a piece of bread, and took a bite without even tearing the plastic wrapping. Suyu saw this, shook his head and walked out. This girl is really careless. As Wang Mingyang and the other four left, the dormitory suddenly became dark. In the darkness, only the sound of the girl with twin ponytails chewing and swallowing could be heard, and the plastic wrapping was rustling. Qing Shanshan, don't eat yet. The girl with short hair could vaguely see the other girls moving slightly, and immediately frowned and shouted. Wei Shinshi, oh, raise your forehead. Qing Shanshan muttered inarticulately with her mouth full of bread. These foods are not for you alone, how can you eat them alone? A tall girl said hoarsely. That's right, these are given to all of us by those people, do you want to eat alone? Another fat girl jumped off the bed, and with the moonlight shining in from the balcony, she walked straight to Qing Shanshan, who was curled up at the computer desk. How could I eat alone? That handsome guy said he would leave it for me. Qing Shanshan swallowed the bread with difficulty, hid the backpack behind her, and shouted at the top of her voice. The other girls didn't waste words at this time, and slowly gathered around Qing Shanshan with green eyes. Okay. Divide the things equally. It's not easy to survive. Don't fight over this little thing. The short-haired girls suddenly separated several people and came forward to hug Qing Shanshan. Lin Lu, this is obviously. Qing Shanshan said aggrievedly. Okay, Shanshan, I know, but if you don't share it now, I'm afraid they will do anything if they are hungry. Lin Lu bit Qing Shanshan's ear and whispered. The girl with twin ponytails looked at the girls who surrounded her, and her heart suddenly felt cold. Qing Shanshan and Lin Lu were originally in this dormitory. When encountering anything, they liked to listen to Lin Lu, the class monitor. At this time, seeing that the situation was a little wrong, coupled with Lin Lu's reminder, gritted her teeth and slowly took out the backpack behind her. Okay, let's make way. Let's see what's in the backpack. Let's make it clear first. No grabbing. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Lin Lu saw Qing Shanshan take out her backpack, grabbed it, and grabbed a fruit knife on the desk. Since Lin Lu said so, of course we believe you. Let's make way. The fat girl looked at the fruit knife in Lin Lu's hand, her face twitched, and she chose to retreat. The girls then made way, and Lin Lu pulled out a small folding table from the corner, opened her backpack and fell down. A backpack of various packaged foods almost covered the small table. Several girls stretched out their hands impatiently, but were forced back by Lin Lu's waving fruit knife. There are 12 people here, and the total is divided into 13 portions. Qing Shanshan takes 2 portions. Is that okay? Lin Lu said while counting the food and water on the table. Why did Qing Shanshan take 2 portions? She just ate a piece of bread. The tall girl said angrily. Just because these foods were earned by her answers, do you still have any objections? Lin Lu raised her head and looked at the girl with sharp eyes. Humph. Hurry up and divide it. Under Lin Lu's gaze, the tall girl did not speak again. In fact, everyone knew that these foods did belong to Qing Shanshan, but how could they bear the food in front of them when they were so hungry? Lin Lu made a timely distribution, at least everyone would get a little, and the 2 portions that Qing Shanshan took were also the products of the remaining shame of these girls and compromise. Finally, the other 10 girls took the materials they were given and quickly left the dormitory and returned to their own territory. Lin Lu and Qing Shanshan closed the door, breathed a sigh of relief, and slowly returned to the table and sat down. Lin Lu, what should we do? This amount of food is not enough for us to last for a few days. Qing Shanshan looked at the only half bottle of water and 2 packs of Oreo cookies left on the table, and said with a hint of tears. There's no other way. If you want to survive, you have to go out and fight for your life. Lin Lu looked at the moonlight falling on the balcony and said calmly. But, those zombies are too scary. My legs go weak when I see them. Qing Shanshan wiped her tears and cried. Either starve to death or be bitten to death by zombies. How do you want to die? 55555, I don't want to die yet. I don't want to die. Qing Shanshan lowered her head slightly and shook her head desperately. If you starve to death, the process will be very painful. You will feel extremely hungry at first, and it seems that you can even eat your own flesh. Slowly you will feel that you have no strength at all, and then you will have hallucinations, and you will not even feel hungry. You can only watch your body slowly become thinner, and then lose weight bit by bit. Toward death. And if you are bitten by a zombie, it will be like being bitten by a dog. It hurts for a while, and then you probably won't feel it anymore. Lin Lu didn't bother to pay attention to her and continued to slowly describe the differences between the 2 ways of death. As Lin Lu said this, Qing Shanshan's eyes became more and more frightened and her face turned pale. I don't want to starve to death. However, if we don't want to starve to death, we can only choose to face those zombies. I'm scared. Lin Lu. Qing Shanshan kept shaking her head, tears streaming down her face. Qing Shanshan. What's the use of being afraid? The worst is death. Lin Lu grabbed her shoulders, shook her heart a few times, and shouted sternly. Lin Lu, I'm going, don't leave me, okay. Qing Shanshan bit her lip with tears in her eyes. She seemed to have made up her mind. She held Lin Lu's hand tightly and cried and begged. Don't worry, I will stay with you. Only together can we survive. Don't think so bad. Maybe we can awaken our powers like those 2 girls, and then there won't be any danger. Lin Lu patted Qing Shanshan's palm and kept comforting her, but the corner of her mouth curled up into a bad smile. On the first floor of the girls' dormitory, Li Yuchan pushed Wang Mingyang with his shoulder, looking confused. I said, why did you ask Suyu to leave food to them? There are so many hungry women, so don't cause any trouble. How could I have imagined so much? Besides, if there are so many people, wouldn't they get a share? Just those tea-dregs, what kind of trouble can they cause? Wang Mingyang looked like I don't know, I have no extra thoughts. TCH, it's weird if I believe you. Li Yuchan raised his middle finger. Stop talking nonsense. Go out the window of this dormitory. There are too many zombies at the door. Wang Mingyang didn't bother to pay attention to him and went straight to a dormitory at the end of the first floor. As for what would happen to those girls, it had nothing to do with him, he is just adhering to a little bit of his original intention. You pointed out the direction for me, and I will give you some supplies in return. As for whether I can hold on, that's not my problem. In the end of the world, people always have to experience something to grow. Waving his hand to remove the iron bars on the balcony window, Wang Mingyang jumped out first and quickly cleared away the zombies around him. Li Yuchan shook his head, and with a thought, a chair flew to his feet. He stepped on the chair and stepped directly onto the window. After glancing around outside, Li Yuchan jumped down calmly. Chapter 80. Don't panic, watch me do it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The four of them quickly cleaned up the zombies that surrounded them after hearing the noise. Wang Mingyang led the charge and headed straight for the male dormitory building in the southeast. This time, the goal was clear, and the few people did not take any detours. In addition, it was dark, and although there was moonlight, the vision was still blurry. Wang Mingyang did not dare to delay any longer, and cleared the zombies with full firepower. At this time, he was somewhat regretful, although the lighting technique was a bit rubbish. It could at least illuminate. After the fusion, it became the fluorescent technique. The effect was hard to describe. Now they could only move forward along the corner of the dormitory building. The large circle of metal fences around them were knocked by the zombies. The sound seemed a bit harsh in the night sky. The survivors in the nearby dormitory building cautiously emerged, and they could not see the specific situation downstairs with the help of the moonlight. However, these people could almost guess that the people who could make such a commotion must be the group of people who set fire to the female dormitory building. When passing by the dormitory building in the middle, someone dropped two small fireballs from above and hit the zombies that gathered. The fireballs ignited the clothes on the zombies, and suddenly in the dim environment, the two human-shaped torches looked so bright. Damn it, this is just adding to the chaos, that the fire lit up, and the zombies that had gathered near the girls' dormitory building because of the big fire that Suyu had set before, seemed to be stimulated by the light source and rushed over. Li Yuchan couldn't complain. If he needed fire, Suyu would have released the dark flame long ago. How could it be like this now? Even the dark flame wrapped around the blade is useless. Li Yuchan released Tai Xinyan around, and cooperated with the iron fence made by Wang Mingyang for protection. Suyu and Mu Ningxue both moved forward with their heads down, and a circle of ice and snow speed bumps moved with them. At this time, Wang Mingyang used the space cutting to the extreme, releasing more than 10 black lines in a row, directly cutting the zombies blocking the road in front into pieces. After finally crossing 3 dormitory buildings, Wang Mingyang looked at a window on the first floor of the number 8 male dormitory and melted it instantly, with glass shards falling all over the floor. Go in quickly, be careful, there might be zombies inside. Wang Mingyang shouted to Suyu and Mu Ningxue, and the two girls jumped in without hesitation with ice shields. Li Yuchan followed closely behind, and Tai's divine thought spread out, firmly protecting the two girls in front. Seeing that all three had jumped in, Wang Mingyang turned around and released 3 space cuts, instantly clearing most of the zombies that rushed over around him. The iron fence melted quickly, and after Wang Mingyang jumped in, it quickly condensed into a new fence on the window. The densely packed zombies rushed to the window, and their bloody claws kept scratching the wall, but they were unable to break through this layer of protection. Wang Mingyang closed the curtains and turned on the flashlight in the house to illuminate the dormitory. The male zombie fell to the ground with an ice pick stuck in his head. Several computers were placed on the desk, a guitar was placed at the foot of the desk, and 2 pairs of smelly socks were hung on the edge of the bed. Yes, it's the boys' dormitory. The fat girl didn't lie to us. Li Yuchan glanced around, fanned his palm in front of his nose, and nodded. Old rules, search 1 floor at a time. Wang Mingyang walked out, but Suyu consumed too much, and the trick just now can't be used. What should I do? Don't panic, watch me operate later. Wang Mingyang smiled calmly, listened to the outside, gently opened the dormitory door and stuck his head out. There were no zombies wandering at the door. At a glance, there were zombies rolling and crawling down from the middle staircase. Pulling Li Yuchan, who was also sticking his head out to look out, back, closed the door, and patted his shoulder. You keep an eye on this side for a while, I'll go to the window and make some noise. You want to? Well, I want to lead all the zombies upstairs outside. But there are so many zombies at the window. If you move, they will probably all come here. Li Yuchan and the other 2 were a little confused, not knowing how Wang Mingyang would operate. Don't worry, my metal control ability has a control distance of 30 meters, which is enough to lead all the zombies here away. Wang Mingyang smiled confidently, and several titanium alloy beads floated in his pocket, gathered into two groups in the air, and continued to stretch and deform. Looking at the metal objects that gradually took shape around Wang Mingyang and looked familiar, the three people's mouths gradually opened. Li Yuchan, Su Yu, Mu Ningxue. Watch it for a while, and remember to call me when there are no zombies coming down from upstairs. Wang Mingyang didn't even turn his head, but the three people behind him were stunned. Carrying two pieces of metal, he quietly opened a corner of the curtain. Under the window sill, a group of zombies were still scratching relentlessly, but unfortunately, due to the height problem, these zombies were doing useless work. Two pieces of metal passed over the heads of many zombies silently and floated straight into the air 30 meters away. Wang Mingyang narrowed his eyes slightly, and concentrated his mental power to control the two pieces of metal. The next moment, the two metal objects quickly separated and suddenly collided with each other. Bang! A loud noise sounded in the night sky, and the sound completely covered the noisy roars of the zombies. The whole campus seemed to be stunned for a second. This is the golden symbol that imprisons Sun Wukong. It is similar to the symbol, but there is still a little difference. Then, the zombies in several dormitory buildings and teaching buildings around roared together, and upstairs in the dormitory where they were, there were the sounds of chaotic footsteps, and the muffled sound of zombies rolling down the stairs. Even on the ground outside the first floor, many zombies trapped in the dormitory broke out of the windows and fell down one after another. Su Yu and the other three looked at each other in confusion and involuntarily raised 3 thumbs up at Wang Mingyang's back. As expected of you, a small move was promised, but it turned out. Su Yu and Mu Ningxue looked at each other and smiled bitterly at the same time. This scene looked very familiar to them. This operation is really annoying. A lot of people slipped away. Li Yuchan sighed softly, but did not forget what Wang Mingyang asked him to do. He put his ear against the door and listened for a while, then gently opened the door a crack and stuck his head out to look out. TSK, TSK, TSK. Li Yuchan smacked his lips. At the top of the stairs dozens of meters away, dense zombies stumbled down the stairs. Many zombies were unable to stop the car and directly hit the wall and died on the spot. There were already many zombies crowding the stairs, but there were still a steady stream of zombies rushing down from the stairs. I don't know how many zombies there are in this dormitory building. In just a short while, Li Yuchan had already seen nearly 100 of them. At the balcony window on the other side, Wang Mingyang did not expect that the sound made by the pair of iron cymbals was so loud. But, the effect is really awesome. Countless zombies are pouring in from the surrounding dormitory buildings and the teaching building in the distance. There were continuous sounds of broken windows and muffled sounds of falling. It's like eating dumplings, making people's scalp numb. However, the zombies under the balcony window of this dormitory were also attracted by the loud noise, and they turned around and ran towards the place where the iron cymbal made the sound. Seeing this, Wang Mingyang simply continued to control the collision and friction of the cymbals, continuously making loud noises to attract the surrounding zombies. If someone looks down from a high altitude, they will see zombies within a radius of several hundred meters, all roaring and rushing towards this direction. Even in the complex building on the hillside, the fire did not attract zombies before. At this moment, many zombies rushed down from the corridor, and many zombies rolled directly from the corridors and windows, dragging their bodies covered in blood, and rushed down the slope like a gourd. Several teachers on the 5th floor were lying by the window, looking down the mountain in the moonlight with dazed expressions. Except for the zombies who were locked in the room at the back, all the zombies that could escape should have escaped. With this kind of movement, even if they were upstairs, they could feel the whole building shaking slightly. A loud sound of iron cymbals was heard. Teacher Xiao Lu was originally planning to wait until early tomorrow morning and drag a few people to the 4th floor risking their lives, but now, it seems, there is no need to fight so hard. Teacher Xiao Lu murmured to himself, with mixed feelings in his heart. In order to survive, the spirit of self-improvement seems to be slowly disappearing.